Panthers versus the UCLA Bruins. This is the Sun Bowl, but sponsored by Tony the Tiger. I don't
They're
get
great.
yeah, there you go. I don't get like El Paso, Texas and Tony the Tiger. Like, is Kellogg's corporate headquarters in El Paso? I
It's
don't
all
know.
who has the most money, man.
Yeah, but like
It's like NIL. It's all who has the most money.
Tony the Tiger, why the Sun Bowl? Like, why the Sun Bowl? Like, I want to
Well,
know. There's other bowls out there.
uh,
Why the Sun
it's
Bowl?
the same thing of why the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. So we got UCLA, and UCLA is a 3.5 point favorite in this game. Over under is set at 54. DTR playing in this game. Zach Charbonnet playing in this game. Jake Bobo playing in this game. Love it. Slovis transfer porta. Abaconda. I don't know if Abaconda's playing or not. Let me take a look real quick here.
I think he was playing.
Yeah, Abaconda is playing this game. Although Cansey is not, which is smart by him because I think he's going to be a top 5 draft pick. But let's rock into this game here. The Sun Bowl in El Paso. Talk to me a little bit about this game here, Fresh. I'll just jump into where my pick is. I got UCLA winning. I got UCLA winning big in this game.
Well, this is actually mirror opposites of each other. You have an amazing offense in UCLA and a much better defense in Pitt, and especially a defensive coach. Coaches are the opposite. Pat Narduzzi, hardcore, Midwestern defensive guy. Chip Kelly, flashy, West Coast offense, high profile. And I think that's part of the intrigue of watching this game is you're going to get a defensive effort who a guy has 4 or 5 weeks to prepare for DTR and that UCLA offense, and vice versa. It's kind of similar. Not many teams have been able to really contain Tennessee's offense in week 2 or three, whatever it was. It feels so long ago. Narduzzi and this Pitt Panther defense played pretty well against that Tennessee offense when they were flying high. They had Hooker, they had Hyatt, they had those guys right, and they had them kind of contained. I think you're going to see a very similar effort here from this Pitt defense, where people are already saying, "Oh, you guys are just a program. You guys are slappy. You don't have your quarterback. You're nothing. You're a one-year wonders with Kenny Pickett and Jordan Addison." There's pride, and they won 4 straight to end the season. They could have packed it in, but they didn't. They believe in the coach. They believe in each other, and they were led by their defense and obviously Abaconda, who is a running back who's had a great year. But I think this defense will show up in El Paso and make things interesting because UCLA's defense is atrocious. Atrocious with a capital A. If there's any efforts of that offense that get put up and maybe Pitt offense can put some points up, you have yourself a ball game because Pitt's offense, even without Keith Slovis, I got a feeling we'll still put up 24, 27 points against that defense from UCLA. They're nothing special at all. So if you can force a turnover or two, maybe contain DTR, Charbonnet, you have a chance in the football game. You never know. Bowl games are crazy. Who wants it more? UCLA lost they kind of faded down the stretch. They had chances. They lost at Arizona and then losing that shootout to USC. Yeah, they won the last game of the year versus Cal, but they kind of clunked it down the stretch where they had a chance to really supplant themselves as a national power and being in returning. So who wants to be here? This is not the bowl game I think UCLA wanted to be in coming, say, November 1st. Here they are. Pitt is probably happy to be in the Sun Bowl. They would have rather been there than playing where Florida played on the 18th of December. You have a game here. I think Pitt is going to play with a lot of energy and a lot of emotion. You're going to see 2 great running backs in Charbonnet and Abaconda.
Abaconda just announced that he's not playing in the bowl game.
Oh, great timing. Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks, buddy.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Way to really cut into our breaking news, everyone. It's not happening.
Yep. Abaconda is not going to play in the bowl game.
All right. Scratch that. We're not going to have the great running back matchup. So Pitt now is in a real bad situation offensively, trying to get other guys to play. Perfect timing. This is great.
Sorry about that,
actually, it works out better. I think Pitt's defense will still show up and play with energy. It'll make it a tight football game. If Pitt's offense can get anything going in this football game, any young guys trying to play for, it'll make it a fun event. I think UCLA DTR will will them to a win. going forward, there's still a lot of holes that Chip Kelly's got to fix on the UCLA defense, but I think they find a way to get a win on the back and legs and arm of DTR. But Pitt's defense will make it an event.
Yeah, DTR accounted for 36 touchdowns on this year. Charbonnet, 14 touchdowns on the ground, almost a 1,400-yard run. Just like, think about this for a second, Fresh. A couple of years ago, Zach Charbonnet was a Michigan Wolverine. Think about that for 1 second on how loaded that Michigan running back room was 3 years ago, or even if you go back to 2020, right before Charbonnet transferred. Like, it's incredible. And that's the hard thing to ask. Like,
Would Edwards have been the fourth? But Edwards he's a sophomore or a freshman. He would have been the fourth. I think he's a sophomore, so he'd been the fourth last year.
Yeah. And so you think about this. My other question is, push comes to shove, would you rather have Blake Corum or Zach Charbonnet? Now most people have only seen a lot more Michigan. Me and you have watched way more UCLA than a lot of other people. I think that people will think that we're crazy that this is a conversation. I think that I would lean Corum, but it's not a slam dunk. It's not like for sure you want this guy.
Well, I think they're different running backs that bring different assets. And if you kind of look at same thing with Haskins last year and Corum,
shoot, I forgot
they each had their positives. They each had their positives. They each had things that you want to see more of, but they fit and they complement each other behind an amazing offensive line. And you can have bigger backs, smaller backs, guys who are more on the perimeter, guys who are more between the tackles. But when they all play together that well, it makes them all more explosive because the defense is getting hit with different options and different attacks every single time.
Yeah. Well, Charbonnet is 6'1", 220. He a big boy. Also 37 catches out of the backfield. It offers a little bit different of a dynamic that Corum offered for Michigan there. Corum's smaller back, but I also probably think a little more shiftier as well. I don't know. Like, again, I think that it's a fun what if question there, but again, I think
it brings up a point though.
Yeah.
It brings up a point where sometimes going to the transfer portal is not a bad thing for you.
No.
Because it gives if the depth chart is that deep, look at like Jameson Williams on that Ohio State roster and he went to Alabama.
Yeah.
Charbonnet leaves. Justin Fields leaves Georgia, goes to Ohio. Like there's times where the transfer portal is good. So first of all, fans, I think it's worth saying both. If people transfer, don't be mad at the guy for transferring. If they want to transfer, let them transfer. Because sometimes it's a good opportunity, but it's up to the player to perform. But let them have that experience. Maybe that depth chart is just so loaded that they know there's not a chance for them to play.
Well, and here's the funny thing. If Charbonnet and Corum both come out for the draft right now, if you are a GM and you're sitting there on day 2 and you need a running back, I would love both of those guys on my team. I really would. I think both of them are tough players. I think Charbonnet is – I think he might have a shorter career. I think you can be a little more creative with Corum. But I like both of them. I think Charbonnet was a little bit more built for the NFL, just for that 6'1", 220-pound thing. But both of them great backs. So
yeah, agree with that.
All right.